How's it going, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest in the behind the bar reviews for One Piece. One Piece, ladies and gentlemen, and it's chapter 930. Chapter 930, which I would say is one of the best chapters in the last few weeks for One Piece. It really is. For me, this chapter was hype because, and it's not just for the reason that a lot of other people seem to be a little distraught over for some reason, but we'll get to that. We're going to go through this chapter, of course, as we always do, scene by scene, page by page. That is the format that we do. So, the beginning part of this was Zoro. Now, I can only conclude that the reason they said, let's turn back the clock a bit and show this scene. Because the last time we saw Zoro, he was already with Tonoyasu, the kind of male geisha, the performer in the rag sort of idea. He was already with him last time we saw Zoro. And now it's forwarding Zoro's story. But the reason I say that this must be significant is that clearly something is going to go down in Ibisu Town, Ibisu Town, where it's going to have to be relevant to affect other characters in other places. It's going to be something significant. Because why turn back the clock to show us this, and then after this scene with Zoro and Tonoyasu in Ibisu Town, they jump over and say present day and we get into KAIDO. So I'm curious. There must be some relevance for turning back the clock by, we don't know how much, they said a little bit. Maybe at the Flower Capital with the whole, with the Shogun having his party, Orochi and all that stuff. Maybe something big goes down there and it affects Ibisu Town and we need Zoro in Ibisu Town at the time. I don't know, but either way, it must be significant to turn back the clock for this one scene. Now, this town, when I was watching a couple of reviewers and reading through the comment section, a lot of people were did not take away what I took away from this scene. I took away something very sad. These people are always smiling. They're starving, they're hungry, they're dying, they're dehydrated, they're this, they're that, they're the other thing. They are living in the squalms of poverty. And Zoro, being brought here by Tonoyasu, cannot understand. Everyone's so chipper, everyone's so happy, and they're literally laughing about their problems. Like, I'm hungry, well so am I. I'm so malnutritious that my teeth are falling out. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Well, what can you do? And this is very, very sad to me because, as Tonoyasu explains, and I find this very significant, Tonoyasu explains, we are the only creatures on Earth that can smile. Now, of course, One Piece takes a little liberty with that, but he claims that we're the only animals that know how to smile, so we should use that. That's the one thing that we can do that no one else in the world can. We can smile, so we better smile. So it's this sad twist on a dark situation that instead of like Leftover Town, which Zoro brings up and says, you know, this is nothing like the feel of Leftover Town, even though they're in the same situation. This town just thrives on the fact that there's no good point in being depressed about it. Because nothing's going to change by being miserable. So you might as well sort of look on the bright side. You might as well smile and laugh and have a good time regardless, because what's the upside to being gloom and doom about it? And it's a very therapeutic sort of method that this town has come up with. And it seems that Fortune does smile upon them in the form of a Robin Hood type figure who goes around when the hour of the ox strikes 3, he delivers gold and stuff like that to them, and the town got enough gold so everyone can have a cup of water, clear drinking water. Now, as we know from the beginning of the Wano arc, they've poisoned the rivers. The Beast Pirates and the Shogun and all them, they've poisoned the rivers. They've and other than people like Luffy and Zoro, they cannot, stomach it, and they get poisoned. So it's such a dark situation that we get reminded of once again in this chapter. But this town, who I guess Ibisu is a god of fortune or god of luck, a kami of some sort, and I did a quick Google search, and I guess the whole town is based on this whole idea of fortune, that fortune smiles on us if we smile. It seems to be their epithet or something like that. I don't seem to... It's very hard to comprehend their situation, but it seems to me like they're trying to make the best of it, and it's kind of heartbreaking, especially when, very significant here for Zoro, they try to make him smile and they try to do all this stuff. But Zoro, a little girl comes up to him with a half-broken cup and says, "Here, Mr. Ronin, you can have one too." And Zoro looks around, he looks at the well, he sees it's busted up and broken, and he knows about the poison, and they're like, "It won't hurt your stomach, I promise." And Zoro, who can ingest the poisonous drinking water, clearly does not want to take this cup of water away from these people who are starving, who are thirsty, who are dehydrated. So he's sitting there like, "No, I don't need it, I can't." And they're like, no, please, take it. And it would have been almost insulting or rude for Zoro to not then receive the cup. And I mean, what was he supposed to say? "Oh, don't worry, I drink poisonous water all the time, I'll be fine." He accepts it, and he pauses for a moment. Like, this is very big on Zoro's character. Remember, Zoro's not a huge talker. He only talks when necessary. When crap's going down with the Straw Hat crew and stuff, and he needs to slap Luffy back into reality on what it means to be a captain, what it means to be a crew, that kind of stuff. Outside of those things, Zoro isn't the conversation type. But we see this in these significant panels where you just see Zoro's reaction and him pausing. He sits there and he looks at the water. And everyone's just, yeah, drink. You must be a good person if Yasu brought you here. You must be a good person. And he's just, I think that Zoro's almost overwhelmed by their attitude in this town and their hospitality. And he's got a certain level of respect, and he knows it'd be insulting to not drink the water. So he sits there. He almost, I don't know if he's necessarily praying or something, but he's just kind of like contemplating it, and then he drinks the water. And I was just like, that's significant. That's a big moment. This has moved Zoro. This is a big thing for Zoro to see. He's on his own, and there's nobody else like Luffy. Like, there's not Luffy to get angry, and Nami to cry, and Brook to be like, "Oh, the horror!" No, this is Zoro by himself, witnessing this firsthand, with only him there to react to these people's situation. And that's why we're getting these panels. And I really, really enjoyed this scene, because it's significant for Zoro's character. And this is going to make this town of people are going to mean a lot to Zoro, and I hope. If that little girl who gave him the cup of water gets hurt, like, Zoro is going to go three-sword style on the Flower Capital and just wreck stuff. A lot of people say that Zoro's not as strong as Luffy, and Sanji's his equal, and blah, blah, blah. We will see the first mate of the Straw Hat crew do feats that we have not seen him do in the entirety of the series. You thought, Moe and Pika and stuff like that was cool. You thought that Mihawk cutting a giant sea-sized wave in half was cool. No, Zoro is going to, if this happens, if the little girl gets hurt by one of Kaido's calamities, or by Kaido, or by the Shogun, or somebody, he's going to devastate the entire region with nothing but his demon Asura form, and it's just going to level people. So I think this is why we got this scene. I think this is why we're seeing the setup for Zoro to be traumatized and lose his shit, to put it bluntly. So either way, that's basically the end of the Zoro scene and stuff, and everybody's still laughing and still happy. And we cut away from there to present day, to Kaido's island, and this is there are two big moments in this chapter, but this one to me was the one that was hype. Of course, the moment is the fact that Big Mom is in Wano. What? This? Like, I thought we were done with her. I thought she'd leave us alone for a few hundred chapters before we had to see her fat, ugly mug again. But no, we have to come back with Big Mom. So, what's basically happening here is she made good on her threat. When they were talking, a lot of people thought they were going to join forces. And I went, why would they do that? Why would they do that? They clearly, like Kaido even stated in their little exchange, like, don't you dare come here, Lin Lin. If you do, I'll beat the crap out of you, sort of idea. So, why anybody thought that Big Mom showing up at Wano would make them have an alliance is beyond me. Like, I always thought that that was going to be, like, this is going to be the arc. Big Mom versus Kaido in Wano with the Straw Hats just doing little crap and then probably having to peace out again. I mean, I really don't know the end of this arc. Where is it going? Because I don't think that Oda would repeat the ending from the last arc. It doesn't make sense. So, one of them is gonna fall. I mean, maybe not to necessarily all the devices of the Straw Hats, but something's got to give. We're going to get another like big worldwide change, like when Marineford happened and the extent of Marineford. That changed the scope of the world. It changed the world government. It changed the balance of the Yonko. It changed the Shichibukai. It changed the balances. Now we're likely to get something similar to happen again. Either way, Big Mom, of course, Charlotte Lin Lin has a massive network of spies and information and stuff like that. So she already knew clearly how to get up the waterfall to enter Wano. So, and Kaido's there looking like a bit of a boss. Like, we don't get really a full, like a nice detailed picture of him, but he's got this like open jacket that's showing off his muscles and stuff. He's not just bare chested this time. He's got like a cool looking, like almost like a bomber jacket, half open, like, yeah, I'm looking like a boss. Sort of reminiscent a little bit to me of from The Dark Knight Rises, Bane, when he was just wearing that big heavy coat, you know, open, brazen, like, yeah, look at my six-pack, I'm packing. So I kind of like that. That looks kind of cool for Kaido. I'm hoping to see more of him in this way, you know. The big thing is, of course, she's climbing up the waterfall, and Kaido is just freaking out. He's like, we're not equipped to deal with an all-out war right now. What are you idiots doing? Shoot her down. Like, for God's sakes, get her off the damn waterfall. And the guys are going, well, reflective cannon fire, all this stuff. Now, there are two notable absences that I could see. Cracker and Katakuri. Now, we understand Cracker is probably still in recovery mode. Katakuri, like a lot of people are saying, the reason he's not there is because his injuries from the battle with Luffy. Don't think so. I don't really think so. I think, number one, two reasons. Number one, somebody needs to stay behind with the whole Cake Island. Somebody needs to guard it, and who are they going to leave it to? Like, she took with her the first daughter, by the looks of it, Smoothie, Daifuku, Parasparrow, took a lot of these people, Flampe for some reason. She took a lot of her commanders or her children with her on her flagship. And the only ones that I can really note who could really be in charge and a force to be reckoned with so they don't get invaded during this moment of absence is Oven and Katakuri. So leaving both of them behind seems to be the appropriate thing. Now, to be fair, we don't actually know. We saw some of the characters, but for all we know, someone like Oven or Katakuri could have been sleeping in the cabin, sleeping off his wounds in the ship, and she was like, no, you're coming with us, and you'll be ready for battle, sort of idea. I mean, I doubt that, but, you know, for all we know, Oven is there, or somebody else is there. Now, it's most likely we would have seen them in action in the chapter, but we don't see that, so I'm under the impression that Katakuri and Oven stayed behind to guard Whole Cake Island. The second reason Katakuri probably didn't leave is because he probably, once again, a lot of people are under that theory, like, he's kind of like, he's got this thing about him where he's like, I don't think he wants his mother to lose necessarily, but he's just kind of like, the one who accepted me from the get-go seems to be Luffy. Like, Luffy doesn't care, it seems. Like, he's got like this level of honor. He's got this like endurance about him, this bravery. He came to respect aspects of Luffy, and I think that Katakuri's like he had a good excuse. I gotta guard Whole Cake Island, or I'm injured or something. But he's probably sitting there going in his brain, like in the back of his mind, going, "Now's not the time. It's too soon since our battle for me to meet up with Straw Hat again. When he gets stronger." And when I get stronger, probably is what he's thinking too. He's probably like Katakuri was pushed to a harsh limit that he's probably never really been pushed before, and so I wouldn't be surprised if Katakuri did a little bit of training. Maybe his observation hockey is of course top notch, but maybe he's going to just train with his mochi powers again. Maybe he's going to figure out how to. You never know, because he's expecting a rematch. One at some point. It seems to me anyways. So that's why he's not there, at least I believe. You got a few reasons there. Pick whichever suits your theory best. And when she gets to the top with Smoothie and Paris Bear and stuff, and we're like, Big Mom's already entered Wano. And a lot of people are claiming this is happening too quick, and clearly Wano is not going the way the editors want and stuff. I think it's just action-packed. I think the fact that everyone hated the chase week to week to week to week in the end of Whole Cake, Oda's like, I gotta have some chapters, like the last two sort of idea. I've gotta have some chapters where I explain some stuff and showcase some people, and I can't just be like, here's Orochi, here's King and Queen's Devil Fruits, here's this, here's that. And he can't just do that, like, all boom, 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 without any build-up in the chapter. He's got to have his dialogue-heavy chapters. He explains, showcase, where is Zoro, where is Sanji, where is Luffy, how's everybody doing, sort of idea. Because right now, so many characters involved, a lot of people separated, the preparation for the big battle, all this stuff. He still has to have these setup chapters. But Oda learned from his mistakes with dragging on the chase too long in Whole Cake. I believe that. I don't believe he's being rushed. I believe he's making this arc fast-paced. He's been waiting to do Wano. I think Whole Cake was simply a setup, so he had establishment for all the powerful people of a Yonko crew. We know all about Lin. We know all about her children, her commanders, the whole bit, and now he can just throw them in there into Wano and be like, you already know who they are, big battle, here we go. No, don't need like 3 chapters to build up different characters. You already know all their devil fruits. You know what they're capable of. Let's just throw them in the chapter and make it hype. Oda learned from his mistakes. So is it fast-paced? Absolutely. But that is not a bad thing. Why would we want four weeks of just, okay, things are happening. Oh, here, no. Let's go. Let's make this action-packed. This is Wano. This is the arc we were all waiting for and all talking about. It's going to be the longest and the best arc. It's going to be action-packed with Yonko versus Yonko and Supernova and Inarashi and then the Minx and a big all-out war. It's going to make Marineford look, well, maybe not Wano necessarily, but Oda did kind of say that he's going to make Marineford look like Child's Play pretty much compared to what's coming. So it could happen in Wano, Yonko versus Yonko, with the mix of the Straw Hats and all their allies combined. It could be nuts. So, I'm really looking forward to it. And once again, I have no problem with this introduction of Big Mom trying to get up there. And the fact of the matter is that this makes sense. A lot of people are kind of upset about how she was handled. Kaido's freaking out, of course, because he's like, I'm not prepared for this. I don't have countermeasures for the top of the waterfall. Don't let that old hag in. And then King, we find out the number one calamity, Kaido's ace, King, that's ironic, ace, King, is a pterodon, a pterodactyl sort of thing, which apparently is not really a dinosaur, but whatever. Anyway, they're going along with this whole dragon fruit, ancient model dinosaurs. So take the dragon fruit epithet very loosely. I'm going to wait to actually say that. To me, I'm going to say that this is still, these are still the dino fruits. Because the dragon fruit, they're not really dragons. Really. So, I mean, is it just a subcategory? Is this the year of the dragon? Are we doing tons of dragons? But they're not actually dragons? I don't know. I would have been fine with ancient fossil fruit. Or, I don't know, dino fruit. Something like that. Something like that would have been fine. But either way, I guess now we're going with the fact that all these dinosaurs are dragon fruits. And he's a pterodon, and I did not expect that one. In my King and Queen Devil Fruit theory video, I assumed that the wildfire had to have some connection to fire. And the pterodon, of course, does not really have any connection to fire. I did say it would have to be either a mythical or ancient zone, but a lot of people knew it had to be a zone. And I really doubt that the #1 calamity on KAIDO's crew would just have a regular run-of-the-mill zone fruit, or a smile or something foolish. So it's an ancient devil fruit, and it's pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. He's got this. Now, the flames are still there. So I'm wondering, once again, is this a gimmick of his? Is this pyrotechnics or something? Is he just, like, where's the flames coming from? Ancient zones don't possess, Logia-esque powers. That's for the mythical zones like Marco. So I'm wondering, where is the fire part coming from? And it's clearly still there while he's transformed into his zone form. And he doesn't appear to be super big. He's not like a giant version, but he is quite large in this form. He attacks Big Mom's ship just as it reaches the top of the waterfall and knocks the ship back. And it topples everybody, and everyone's like, yay, King saved us and stuff. And the crew of Big Mom's crew does recognize that this is King. They're like, a pterodon? Is that King? So they already know about KAIDO's calamities. So they're very much aware of clearly the other devil fruits of other Yonko's crew to some degree. Once again, Big Mom's information network is top notch. And Big Mom's in the ocean. No, I'm serious. Big Mom is drowning right now. Now, to be fair, she'll wash up in a day like Luffy did, and shit's going to go down. That's basically what's going to happen. Shit is going to go down because Big Mom is not dead. This is not how Big Mom dies. But she's out of the picture for a little while. But she'll wash up. She'll wash up on shore. Maybe a couple of her children died from this. Once again, devil fruit users, they can't swim. So if they sink to the bottom and they can't get to shore, they're going to die. They're going to drown. The only reason that Jack did not drown is because he's part fishman. How long Luffy was in that, in the water and stuff, we don't know. But of course, Luffy can hold his breath. And a lot of these characters can probably hold their breath a stupid, ridiculous, inhumane amount of time. But I wouldn't be surprised if, Linlin washed up to shore and makes a remark saying, well, we lost a quarter of my crew to the ocean. It wouldn't surprise me. Not going to lose anybody like Parasparrow or Smoothie or somebody like that, but to lose like some of the, the fodder that she probably had with her, probably so. And there goes her ship. I doubt the ship's okay. I mean, it could be, but falling from that height, I mean, once again, it's One Piece. Anything can happen, but yeah. So that was intense. That was really hype. A lot to read into that, and then we get the final part of the chapter with an ending hype moment with Sanji. So at the end of the chapter, of course, we have Frankie, Sanji, Usopp, and Law all running away. And Frankie even, they're just having a conversation. Usopp says, I'm going to talk, I'll talk. And there's a little bit of comedic banter back and forth between them, but who cares about that? I thought Usopp, it's part of his character being, a bit cowardly, but I thought he gained gained a set, since the time skip. I thought he would be a little... Anyways, that's beside the point. Usopp's really not one of my favorite characters, so, I don't want to hate on him too much. I know that that's just part of his character, and that's banter, and when push comes to shove, Usopp has shown bravery. He's had quite a bit of development, which is a little odd for One Piece. Character development is not a huge staple in the series that keeps it going, but there's still been a bit of development over time since we were first introduced to Usopp till now. He has changed, but those core things are just going to stay. So they're running away, and Frankie's questioning Law's decision to do this, and Law's just like, listen, can't let them know who we are. Like Hawkins and Drake will recognize all of us. We'll be screwed. And then our plan is done for. Then we're going to have, like you don't understand, Frankie. There's this, that, and the other thing. We can't let them know about the samurai. We can't let them know about the minks. We can't let them know about this, that, and the other thing. That's when Usopp says he's going to talk. Frankie even says, well, why don't we just kick their ass? A very Luffy response. Why don't we just kick their ass and then run away? Like, he's like, well, if you think you can do it quickly while hiding your face and they don't find out who you are, go ahead. But it's like, it'd be very difficult. These are headliners, and they're not just any old headliners. Like, once again, like, the problem is you have characters like Hold'em and Speed in the category with Hawkins and people like that, but then you have, of course, the six strongest headliners, the Flying Fighters, or whatever they're called, and that includes Page One and X-Drake. Does not include Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, stop with the Walkins thing. He is not Christopher Walken. He is not that cool to be Christopher Walken. So do not, everyone, just stop with the Walken stuff. Just stop. He did nothing impressive for me, okay? And he's clearly, apparently he hasn't done anything impressive for Kaido either, because he's not one of the 6 strongest headliners. There's Kaido, 3 Calamities, and 6 headliners above Hawkins. And do you think that Kaido does not base his crew on strength? Big, strong, club slamming brute ranks people based on not strength. Okay, moving on, and for some of you out there who do not understand sarcasm, that is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, sarcasm. Anyways, so Frankie has a sound idea, but Law even says, can you take on Page One a dinosaur fruit user? Which, once again, see, this is what's confused me. I don't think it's actually is officially translated as the dragon fruit. That's weird, because then Sanji goes on to say in a couple pages, oh, a dinosaur fruit user. Like, well, apparently he's a dragon fruit user. Not a dinosaur. I don't know. Anyways, I'm confused. I'm just going to keep calling them dinosaurs. So, because he is. He's a Spinosaurus. Watch Jurassic Park 3. So they start attacking the soba stalls. And we can hear the crying and the shouting and all that stuff. And there's, like, Page One is there wrecking a soba stall. Said, well, you're a soba stall. Bring out Sangoro. Bring out Sangoro. He's the one I'm after. Like, call out for him, or I'm just going to keep destroying stuff. So their livelihood is destroyed. These people are going to get kicked out of the flower capital, and they're screaming. They're like, damn you, Sangoro. Why did you do this? Like, come out here and face the consequences, damn it. You know, that kind of stuff. And in the end, everyone's like, no, you can't go, you can't go. Sanji goes anyways, and up, down, kicks Page One. Page One goes down. All right, but I mean, he's just a hit, just a surprise hit, similar to what Luffy did to Kaido, an unexpected surprise attack from the sky. Similar idea. He takes after his captain. So that happens, and then we notice that Page One has clearly got like a Bluetooth headset of some form, and he's saying even in this Spinosaurus full zone form, he can still talk on the Den Mushi walkie-talkie sort of idea, and he's like, he got the Bluetooth going on, and he's saying like, located, target confirmed, I'm at this and this, corner of this street in that place, so, hurry up over here sort of idea. But of course, Page One doesn't know who any of the Straw Hats are, so his identity is safe. Now, this is where, like, Luffy, or Law, sorry, not Luffy, but Law and Frankie and everyone's like, let's go, he's, Hawkins and X-Drake are going to be here, and they know who we are. Everything's going to be lost. And this is where Sanji basically says, no, you guys go on ahead. Don't worry about me. Like, preserving our strength is a good idea, but reducing theirs is also a good plan. And if I can take this guy out pretty much quickly and, like really fast before anybody figures out who I am, where's the harm? And then this is where he says, now a lot of people are going to go on about this, but I'm going to rebuttal, is Sanji pulls out the raid suit. The number 3, the raid suit, which a lot of people are a little upset by. and this is another reason, along with the Big Mom showing up thing, a lot of people are saying this is too fast paced. No, don't think so. I think that Sanji knows and understands that the needs of his crew and this plan outweigh any personal dislike he has. I never thought that we were going to see a scene where Sanji was going to have like this conflicting moment about using this raid suit. I think we all assumed he would use it. I mean, he had initial distaste for it, but that was at the beginning of the moment. That was when they first got away and stuff, and he found it in his pocket. He's like, disgusting, and I don't want this, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to toss it overboard. But then he's had a few days to calm down now. He's probably thought about it, and we'll probably get a flashback. This is what I'm saying. Like, we literally just got a turn back the clock a little bit sort of idea here in this chapter. So why can't we see Sanji next chapter, which break next week? Sorry, guys, that sucks. I mean, it sucks for me, it sucks for you, it sucks for everybody. But can we not just next chapter see Sanji, like, before putting it on, having, like, they're at the soba stand or something, talking about it with Usopp or thinking about it or something, or Law talks to him about it or something, because Law doesn't seem to, like, he has this, like, grimace on his face, and he's looking towards it, and he seems to, like, he doesn't seem to question it at this junction when he pulls out the raid suit. So maybe he's talked to Law about it, and Law put something in perspective, or maybe Frankie or Usopp. Somebody probably put it in perspective for Sanji that it's not a bad thing, you know? Take it as a thing from your mother, not something that you hate from your father. Maybe something like that. But there's no reason we can't get a one page of him thinking about this, like, turn back the clock a little bit. He already had this moment. He got over it. It's not like the big moment for Sanji. Like Sanji's had a lot of big moments. But him choosing to use the raid suit doesn't need to be 3 pages of him struggling to understand or whether he wants to use it. It's pretty straightforward for me. And so now he's got it. A lot of people are going to say, like, because he literally says, well, you know, if I beat him, and of course the raid suit will increase Sanji's strength, but if I cover up my identity, right? And that's when he pulls out the raid suit and panel of the chapter. A lot of people are saying, well, that's not going to cover his face. And, like, we don't know that. Like, once again, just because we saw the other raid suits in that way, we have no idea, and Sanji seems to know that it will cover his face in some way, or cover up his identity in some way. So maybe Sanji's, once again, this is why I think he's already probably opened it up before. He probably already knows what it is. He's probably put it on, or somebody used it, or something, in the past. You know, at night or something. They were like, all right, let's just figure, I just need to know what this is. Maybe after seeing the Kaido thing, maybe Sanji said, you know, this is do or die out here. I can't afford to have these feelings, like, be like, well, I don't want to use this power. No, I'm going to use every tool at my disposal. I need to help my captain. I need to help this country. Probably after that, he had this realization that I can't be a baby about this. Personal feelings aside, my crew comes first. It's very straightforward to me. So he probably tried it out, probably tested it, and knows that this one probably has a visor or something that covers his face, like a Power Ranger. I mean, it might not, but maybe he's got some other plan. I don't know. But once again, we have no idea what the number 3 raid suit looks like, so how can we say it won't cover his identity? So just, everyone, hold your horses before you judge. Hold your horses before you judge Sanji just jumping right to the raid suit that he supposedly hated. And don't, you know, hold your horses about the whole it'll cover his identity thing. We need to see what happens before we can make those judgment calls. As once again, I think in the next chapter or the one after that, we'll see a flashback thing of, once again, it could be after the Kaido fight, it could be while Luffy was with Tama and all that stuff, because it seems that they all woke up and they were already together with Kinemon and stuff. Maybe Sanji, you know, talk to Kinemon. We don't know, but at any point in this arc, this could have happened since he first found out about it. Like, we've seen, like, Sanji has been off-screen for days. There's plenty of time for him to, you know, get a grip on it and realize it, and we'll just see it in a quick flashback. So, anyways, guys, that is the end of the chapter. A very long review, but there was so much to talk about, and I wanted to talk about everything in detail. So, apologize for the lengthy review, but this has been Griever with One Piece, chapter 930. Break, as I said, next week. That really sucks, but chapter 931 is probably going to be absolutely lit. So, I mean, are you really going to complain? We got a great chapter. We're just going to have to hold off until we get past next week and get into the week after for chapter 931. That'll be really great. Once again, guys, like, subscribe, comment as always. It's always appreciated. I always appreciate every view and every subscriber. So drink responsibly as always, and we'll see you back here next time for chapter 931 of One Piece. See you next time, guys.